Welcome to Dental Business RX. Practice success in 30 minutes or less.
Thank you for calling ABC Dental.
It may seem obvious, but have you ever really examined the specific points that make staff turnover such a problem? Beyond lowering your morale as a business owner, it can be frustrating not being able to fill a position. You also have unfilled positions and all the lost productivity associated with that. It also creates issues like lost knowledge, lack of continuity, reduced cohesiveness and team spirit. And then there's the cost in time and lost opportunity in finding, hiring, and then bringing a new employee up to par and making them productive. And that's the package we look at, or parts thereof when we consider that we might be losing an employee. Now, where this becomes dangerous is when you have somebody that maybe you should lose, and because of that pain you don't want to deal with, and maybe you're making this more painful for yourself than you should, you end up keeping somebody who's non-productive. In any event, you want to do everything you can to minimize turnover, but anything we can do and any tools that we can use to make this process easier, less costly for ourselves in the practice is a big win. And I want to talk about one of these tools in this week's episode. Employee checklists. My name is Jeff Bloomberg and I'm your host. And what I'm going to be talking about this week is actually an extremely simple, easy to create and use tool. But, like many simple things, it can be extremely powerful. And if you have an office where you're bringing on a lot of new people, or you've had a decent amount of turnover, or even if you just turn over one employee, these things are vital to keep the office running the way that you would expect it to run. So how I'm going to do this episode is I'm first going to go over the theory of, why we need these and how you make them. I'm going to give you some examples and I have some downloads for you. And then I'm going to go over the different types of checklists you might want to use in your practice as well as how to use them. So let's take a look. When you're bringing in a new person, you've hired somebody new, obviously assuming that they are a good candidate for your office, they're productive and they're a good fit for your practice. Beyond knowing what to do, and how to do it, I have to know I schedule patients and how to schedule patients, or how do I schedule a root canal and where do I schedule a root canal? In other words, how to do it and what to do. A person also has to be able to know when to do it and be able to prioritize what's more important than not. In our seminars, I give kind of a silly example when I'm explaining this concept. So let's say you're an observer and you walk into a dental practice and you see a receptionist. You're at the reception desk and there's 3 patients waiting to talk to the receptionist. The phone is ringing and the receptionist is in, by the charts. Let's say this office still has paper charts and they're filing charts. So here's the person at the front, and the phone, bring. And this front desk, this receptionist is, CH comes before CI. Okay, good. Now, what would you think of this person? When I ask this question, most people say, oh, they're stupid. That's kind of mean, but I understand that thought. What it is, obviously all 3 of these things are things that they are supposed to do. They're supposed to receive patients and talk to patients at the front and manage patients at the front. They're supposed to answer the phone and they're ultimately supposed to file charts. But, and then I'll ask, what's the first thing they should do? Handle the people at the front. Second thing, the phone. Third thing, charts when they can get to it. Of course. So that's where it comes down to priorities. But if you were to look at this person's job description, all 3 of these things might be in their job description. The problem is they can't actually differentiate or figure out what is, and I'm using a very extreme example that you probably wouldn't see, I hope, and be able to figure out what is more important than others. How do I prioritize? And what that comes down to is the person doesn't understand their job. And I have a specific definition of understand I want to give you. If you go to, Oxford or dictionary.com and you look up the definition of understand, a couple kind of stick out. First one is to perceive the meaning of. Okay. Grasp the idea of or comprehend. Fair enough. And the one that I like that I think applies in this case is to grasp the significance, implications, or importance of. So if I understand something, I know what it means and I know its significance. I know what happens if I don't do it, the implications of it, and I know its importance. I know what is more important than not. So let me give you another example of this specifically relating to training. Let's say you're training a new receptionist, and the way they're supposed to answer the phone is, thank you for calling ABC Dental. My name is blank. Let's say Jeff, because I'm Jeff. I can help you. That's what you want them to say when they answer the phone. So the phone rings and they pick up. Dental office, you grab the phone and you handle it, right? And then eventually they get this down, right? Hello, thank you for calling ABC Dental. My name is Jeff. I can help you. And you have a little script, and maybe you role play this script with me a little bit until I get it to where I know it, cold. Then one day I pick up the phone and I say, hi, thank you for calling ABC Dental. My name is Jeff. I can help you. Would that be catastrophic? I mean, in my opinion, no. They did go off script, but is it important that I say hello versus saying hi? I know somebody out there is going to go, hello is more formal. I should say greetings then, right? Or salutations. You could stick on that point, but what I've realized is that it's important to tell people where they've called, give people my name, and let them know I can help them. Those parts are important, but whether I say hello or hi is not that critically important. I'm able to prioritize what I'm saying and seeing what's important and what is not. And that's one of the big problems you have when someone has a new job, especially you take a look at, and this is the other aspect of dental jobs, especially in the front and even in the back office, is there's so many small things involved with every job. So much, I hate to use the word minutia because that could make it sound unimportant, and I don't mean it that way, but there's so many little things that are involved in doing everything in a dental practice. There's tiny little steps. They're easy to miss, and you miss that little step and it becomes a humongous problem. And this is where checklists become, even more important. I mean, think for a second of everything involved in filing an insurance claim, a perio insurance claim. Think of that for a second. Now, it's been a while since I've been, close to one of these being filed, but you probably need perio charting. You probably need a full mouth x-ray of some kind. There's all kinds of stuff you're going to need. Or if you're filing a claim for, replacing a tooth, you're going to have to know, does the insurance have a missing tooth clause? There's all these little things. Or even doing maintenance in the back. There's all these little itty bitty things. And one of these things, if you don't get it right, blows the whole process up. So you've got this new person. You're trying to train them on how to do things and what to do. Then they have to know when to do it. All right. And there's lots of little things. So it can leave people a bit scramble brained. And that's why it might be, especially if you have no process or procedure with newer employees, you'll find it's going to take you a long time to get them up and running. And look, let's face it. People don't like doing a bad job. I mean, there probably are some people who do, but they're not the employees you want anyway. But for the most part, people don't want to do a bad job. People don't want to come in and not do what's asked. They want to be a success. So if they come in and they can't be successful and it takes too long, they're eventually going to get frustrated and start to wonder, is this job really for them? So this is another reason why you take the fact that it's, when do I do it and prioritizing it. You take that there's all these little things involved in a job, especially in a dental practice. That's where checklists become helpful with newer and even longer term employees. It captures everything that has to be done, and it would make me attest to having done it. And, I can't forget anything. And you can have different types of checklists. You could have, simple ones. You could have a maintenance checklist. Let's say you have weekly maintenance, monthly maintenance. Certain things are done monthly. Certain things are done quarterly. Certain things are done weekly. There's maintenance you're doing in the back. All right. Well, then you should have checklists. They might be in the wall with dry erase or whatever in your lap. And the assistants do it every week. And you go, well, it would take time to put these together, but that's time you're only going to have to spend once. That's the other beauty of this thing, right? But then what it does is it makes sure everything is getting done. And you can have checklists for all kinds of processes in the office, how to clean the lab, all this type of stuff, right? But then I'm a big fan of, beyond doing that, I would definitely have those things, of having more dynamic types of checklists that specifically relate to jobs, okay? So again, we could have let's say I'm the schedule coordinator, and you have a list of things I'm supposed to do every day, every month, every quarter, every week, however you're breaking it down. And it's just a list. Here are the 15 things I have to do every day. And some of these are going to be repetitive actions, schedule patients, things of this nature. Make sure there are no openings tomorrow. All right. Well, it doesn't necessarily, if it's just a list of things for me to do, it doesn't necessarily prioritize what I'm supposed to be doing when. You could take this a step further, and I have a sample for you on this. This is actually from our online platform, DDS Success, and it's for the reception position. Now, just to explain, and I've talked about this in prior episodes, we do advise we don't advertise it, we advise it. We advise a division of labor at the front. You would have somebody who might be the receptionist and someone who might be the scheduler. Now, that might be the same person in a smaller practice, but as the practice grows, you would sort of split those functions. Just like your financial coordinator might be doing treatment plan or treatment coordinator type functions with you. You might have a financial coordinator who verifies benefits and files insurance, but then they come see patients with you for larger cases and help you do financial arrangements. Well, that's fine, but as the office gets busier, you're going to have to split those jobs up and probably have 2 different people for those jobs. So in a smaller office, a person might be answering the phone and scheduling all the patients, but those are 2 separate functions, reception and scheduler. Now, what I have for you here, this is from our receptionist training course on DDS Success, but it's specifically just for the receptionist functions. And this breaks it down by time of day. I'm not going to read the checklist to you. I have a sample of it you can download if you would like on the episode webpage, but it has, an opening checklist, and it's silly stuff, turn on the lights, tidy up the front office, turn on the copy machine. And you might look at stuff like this and you go, why do I have to tell somebody to tidy up the front office? Well, in your career, have you ever had somebody not do something you told them to do before? If you say no, you're probably not telling the truth. That happens. Whereas if I have this as a checklist, especially if I'm new to the practice and all these things and I have to check it off, you'll see it's a checklist where it has my task and then the days of the week where we're open and I'm supposed to initial them or check them off as I go. I'm supposed to ensure the restroom is neat and supplied. I'm supposed to unforward the phone and get any messages we have on voicemail. I'm supposed to turn on the computers and printer. Things like this. These are all things I'm supposed to do. So this makes sure that we're not missing all these little things, which again, when missed can become problems. For this reception checklist, it breaks it down for opening, ongoing during the day, and closing. And keep in mind, there are parts of my job I'm doing as the receptionist, right? But this makes sure that maybe aren't on the checklist. It's not going to say answer the phone, but it'll say that I'm supposed to answer the phone during the day and greet patients. But I'm checking these off and looking to make sure that I'm doing them throughout the day. In this case, it's split into 3 areas: opening, ongoing during the day, and closing. You can check that one out. Now, if you want to get really fancy with this, let's take a position like financial coordinator. Now, what does your financial coordinator do? They are handling all of your insurance, verifying benefits, they're filing insurance, they're following up on claims. They're most likely making financial arrangements with patients. They are, in a lot of cases, checking patients out when they leave. There's a lot of little things involved with this position. So I have a sample checklist for you here that you can download on the episode webpage. It's Financial Coordinator Daily Checklist. And we actually even have monthly duties, which we've attached to it as well. Because again, there's things that a financial coordinator would be doing daily, weekly, and monthly. Sending out statements, posting finance charges. There's all kinds of stuff. And what this is for an office that is open Monday through Thursday with sort of an admin day on Friday. Now, obviously, you'd adjust something like this for your practice, right? But this is broken down by time. So this office runs 4 days a week. I think certain days, here I have the schedule here. It says the office schedule in this sample is a long Monday and Tuesday, a short Thursday, and an even shorter Wednesday, and a half day Friday. There you go. And obviously, you would adjust this for your practice. But let's take the average day. It starts at 8:30. This is Monday and Tuesday, and all the things they're supposed to do. Get their computer going, get their space neat and tidy, handle any last-minute benefit determinations, review their monthly checklist for any duties they have to be doing that day between 1 and 2 o'clock, note any cancellations and how they affect their lineup, meet with the LM and go over their daily lineup, what they're supposed to collect that day. At 8:45, they go to the morning production meeting, and it's broken down into intervals like that, 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10. They're calling insurance companies for benefits they were unable to reach the previous day. From 2 to 3, they're, at lunch or in staff meeting on Monday, right? 3 to 4, they're calling on claims that have aged 15 days. Like, we have this broken down to where every little thing is explained. And you look at something like this and you go, wow, this is a lot of work. And what if they have a situation where, let's say I'm following up on claims and I'm on the phone longer than the allotted time on my checklist? Fine. But the point being is, everything I'm supposed to be doing every day is here. So assuming you've taught me what to do, I know how to do these things, and this tells me when. And the funny thing is, as I continue to do it, and assuming it's a good checklist, I'm going to start to get the idea of why I'm doing certain things at certain times. We even have, what the person does on Fridays and what the person does once a month, right? This is all there. You can download that as a sample. But the point being with this is it gets to the point where there are 0 dropped balls. And it makes it easy for an office manager if I have checklists for every position, where I can go up, especially with a newer person, I can go up to the front and just look at their checklist. Because here's the deal. If I tell you that I did something and I initial my checklist, then that means it's done. or it means that I'm telling you I did something I didn't really do, in which case we have a problem, don't we? We have a serious problem, and that's going to require some other type of handling. Maybe, I might not be a good fit for your practice, right? But in any event, what this does is it outlines for everybody what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it. It gives you a way of keeping track of what they're supposed to do. It makes their jobs a lot easier because it takes all these little things that they're supposed to be doing and groups them into one area so they can monitor them. And it makes managing a practice a lot easier, especially if you're going through a growth phase or you've had a turnover phase. So my suggestion is start using these things. I've given you a couple samples you can use for individual jobs. You can take any areas that you've had trouble with. Maybe weekly maintenance isn't the way you'd like it. Make a checklist for it, right? And then run people through it. And then they're supposed to do it. And it starts to add a bit of regularity and organization to the practice and makes your life a lot easier. This is a shorter episode this week. I wanted to do something on this and I didn't feel like I had to drag it out. I wanted to give you the data though and see if it would help. I hope it helped. And if you have any questions about MGE, you can find us at mgeonline.com or call us at 800-640-1140. Don't forget, if you want these, just download them from the episode webpage, and we will see you at next week's episode.